Welcome back to another episode of Story Time with DJ. This episode is episode 7, I think. It could be technically episode 6, but I did do an episode 6 via TikTok. But we'll figure that out in post production. Anyways, today's episode is really just about expanding our identity and just some things that I've been learning just in this journey. One of the things that I've been has been just so apparent to me is it can be very easy for us to limit ourselves and be attached to old identities that maybe not serving us. One of the things that came to my mind even before doing this was I don't want to be known as a storyteller. Like the things that I put out, I need it to be all about acting. That way I know that I'm an actor. As opposed to putting out whatever it is that I want to put out and being okay with being all of these different things. It was a real like external game that I was playing. I don't even know if external is the right word. It was tricky, and it was a battle that I was fighting for myself because I had all these things that I wanted to do. Like I wanted to tell stories. I'm picking up writing so I can make more acting things, but also things that I may not even be acting in. And I still have this identity of being a world class actor. And one of the things that I was telling myself is, well, if I'm not putting all my attention, all my focus into being a world class actor, then does that mean that I'm not going to become it, that I'm not going to be that? And what I'm finding, and I've had conversations with people about this as well, is that I think it goes back to the original story. That I don't even know if it was episode 1 or not, but I think it was something that I put out on Facebook of, what is art, and art and an artist being someone who feels something and then is then able to translate that feeling or that thought and give it to someone else, right? And being a creative person, I feel like a lot of creatives, if especially if you're watching this back, I feel like a lot of creatives are going to be people who resonate with this. Um, as a creative, if you're limiting yourself to one creative venture, not necessarily as a form of discipline, but just because this is what you want to be doing, but you're not doing that thing because you're waiting on something to come along. For an example that's specific is I'm waiting. I found myself just waiting for someone to give me something to act in, and that was very. It wasn't the best feeling in the world because I'm not acting as much as I want to. So like, how can I improve in something that I'm not doing, right? And what I'm finding is that there are transferable skills in these other ventures that I'm doing, like this storytelling thing. I'm finding that I can critique some technical things in my acting with this storytelling thing, this venture that I'm doing, because when I review the film, I rewatch the film. It's kind of like rewatching myself whenever I'm doing a scene after the finished product, because I can see different things that maybe work that did translate in the story or things that didn't translate in the story. Did my diction or my articulation come out good? Or were there certain things that I said I wanted to work on? I know like last time I did a video, I was focusing on the work on the letter V, and that was because I did a short film or I did a series with my friend, um, and I think I said it was like save. The word was save, but I said safe. So like the VF thing. So like say all that to say that there you can still be creative in other ventures, and as you're improving these other ventures, we can improve in the very thing that we're not doing but we want to improve in. And I found that to be very, very interesting. And just expanding our identity and expanding on who it is that we are and who it is that we can be doesn't necessarily have to be locked into one specific thing. And going back to just studying some of the best at what they do, they have multiple ventures. Like they don't just limit themselves to one thing because you remain small. You can only grow so much if you're only doing one thing. I believe personally, I believe, and this is just what I'm finding and the people that I'm studying and what I'm finding for myself. But when we open up and we allow ourselves to really just experiment and play and go into new passions. Like one of the scariest things for me, I don't know why, was, diving into other things that I was passionate about because I thought that, going back to what I was just saying, I thought that if I dive into this passion, then this other passion is going to die out. It maybe that could have been the case. I'm finding that it's not the case, but even if it was, if I'm still diving into this passion, then and this passion ends up doing very, very well for me, I end up having a ton of fun and really enjoying the experience, then why does it matter if this other passion dies out? Because if we think about the long term game is I'm trying to have a great experience and I want to have fun doing what it is that I do. And we can always circle back to these passions. Like I think it's also a time game. Now that I'm saying it out loud, it's all about time and perspective on time, and not wanting to rush everything, not feeling the need to be done with everything at. And I think that's one of the things that I find myself getting caught up in because I like to complete things when I start them, and you know, life is about the process as well. It's not just about completing things, it's about the process. And if you're not enjoying the process because you're so focused on trying to get to the end result, then I think that can cause a lot of pain. I'm finding that for myself at least. Um, One of the things that I want to go into, um, just talking in specific, is this thing on connection. This funny thing that I was finding on connection. Um, I used to always think that I was alone in this world. And when I say always, I know obviously there's times where I felt connected with people, but overall, I just felt like there wasn't really a real sense of connection. Like I felt like it was all superficial and on the surface. And I would blame a lot of that on other people as well as myself. I was like, well, I said something inauthentic here, or this person just doesn't like to connect. And some of that may have been the case, but what I'm also finding is connection can also come from just being interested in people, truly interested in people, rather than trying to get someone to like you. And that was my biggest not downfall, but biggest learning curve, was that I was so focused on trying to make these people like me that everything I was saying, it was an attempt to get them to like me. So every time we would leave the conversation, I would be somewhat unhappy and unsatisfied, unfulfilled, because how the hell am I supposed to know if they're really liking me or not? Because that's it's subjective, right? So, and I'm not inside their head. So even if they said that they like me, if I didn't have the feeling that they liked me, then I was how could I know? I wasn't happy with it. And once I started changing that into, rather than me getting them to like them getting to like me, I switched it to, can I get to know this person? What's something new that I can find out about this person, or how can I learn from this person? How can I grow from this experience? And I've been having a lot more fun in my conversations and just getting to know people and become more interested. Like for example, I was on TikTok because I was doing a TikTok strategy. I'm trying to figure out how to make TikToks. I know that may sound crazy, but making TikToks to where I'm having fun making the content and I'm not just putting things out that I think may be popular. And so I was looking at a bunch of different acting people that put up acting things on TikTok. And there was this one girl, I can't remember her name, but I might put her in the description. I was watching one of her videos and I didn't know what the hell the video was about. I watched it and I was like, it felt like an art house film to me. I just did not understand what the hell I was watching. But I saw that it was super popular. It had like over like 9 million views and a lot of likes, a lot of comments. So I was like, what is going on? So rather than, getting upset or jealous or whatever and just moving on, I said, let me figure out why people are resonating with this. Because clearly it was resonating with people. So I go into the comments and I look at the comments and apparently the video was about like childhood trauma. And I'll just go into the video a little bit. The video was basically about a girl. The girl was holding a cup and she spills it and she starts to say, oh my God, I'm sorry. And someone off camera would say, no, dude, it's really okay. It's not that big of a deal. And then it would be like a flashback to the person getting yelled at and crying. And then she was eating a bowl of cereal. And I was confused as fuck. I was like, what is going on here? I don't see any correlation with any of this. Then I started reading the comments. And apparently what a lot of people was resonating with was, it was something about childhood trauma with when they were younger, when they were kids. Anytime they would spill something, they would get yelled at by, I'm assuming, their parents or somebody. Somebody would yell at them. And it stuck with them. So even now, whenever they spill things as an adult, they feel that traumatic experience of like, oh my God, I'm about to get in trouble. I'm about to get yelled at. I'm about to lose love. And I just thought that was very interesting. Because if I didn't look into that, I would just thought that was just a random ass video that for some reason went viral. But it wasn't that at all. It was really she was talking about a pain point for her in her life. And it was very unique because after I got that understanding, the video kind of changed for me. I rewatched it and I was like, okay, I understand it. I understand what's going on here. And I think that just comes with being curious and also interested. And rather than just writing everything off, like looking into it, taking some time. And it took me a few comments because some of them were just talking about, oh my God, this is great acting. But that's not really what I was looking for it for. So yeah, it just goes with being curious, being extremely curious. And I feel like that may be the secret to connection. At least that's what I'm finding. It always goes back to that's what I think and that's what I believe. That's what I'm finding. Obviously, you got to do what works for you and find the lane that works for you. But I think that's gonna wrap it up today. This is more of just a rant, but it really touched on a lot of the things that I've been experiencing these past couple weeks of expanding the identity and also just being curious and interested in people. And that in it of itself, that curiosity and that interest is bringing more connection and more fulfillment in my conversations and interactions and relationships with people. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and see you guys next episode.